Hi guys, welcome to Parawoman Radio. It's been a hot minute since I've done a live, but I thought I'd come on and do a live and we'll talk about the Watts and see what's up with that case. So stay with me. I'm just going to roll some credits and we'll get going. Hi guys.
Hello, Ramona. I can't shake the simplest feeling beyond the ghost. We stand on the opposite shore. Hello, Ramona. I reach through mysterious ceilings, my only hope. I look for the things I don't know. All in this, I stand alone. Show me where the ending goes. Honest, honestly don't. I should be the last to know. We're all in this, I stand alone. Show me where the ending goes. Honest, honestly.
Getting more information about his text messaging and his cheating and his wedding and all the things that make him the monster that he is. Apparently, this is upsetting him. This was a great scoop by People magazine. That man on your screen right there is consoling himself with love letters in prison where he is serving his life no parole sentence in Wisconsin. So exactly the name of the facility, Dodge Correctional Facility. It's in Waupun, Wisconsin. Apparently, after he moved there, a deluge of letters came in, not all of them kind, certainly lots of people very disgusted, appropriately so.
Check. Frankie Jr., he did comment on one of my comments and he said they were close to sharing information on how they are dealing with the people that are desecrating Shanann's memory. So he said that. So I will be looking for that. Well, let's just go over to his page and see if he's done anything new over there. Oh, he did post something. Okay, guys, I am back. I'm trying to play with things to see what my beginning should be. I haven't ironed it out yet, but I'm just trying to play with things to get people interested in the show. Today, we're going to talk about the Watts case. I haven't done an update. I really haven't done a live in a really long time, like over 2 weeks, I think. And so I thought I would pop on here because I have seen some new things that's going on. I couldn't find my cord for my microphone, so I'm using the microphone on my laptop. So I hope you guys can hear me okay. If you can't hear me, if you could just pop a note, just say we can't hear you or speak up or whatever. So I have been popping around the internet looking to see what is new on the Watts case, and I did find a few new things. That I thought was interesting. Um, Let me show you the screen. Let's see. Okay, so is this the one that I wanted? Yeah. Okay, so I did a search, and as you can see, there's not a whole lot going on, but I did see that. Make sure. I did see that. Does anyone watch Swoop? She does documentaries on true crime, but she also does deep dives on things that are um, pretty dangerous on the internet, like MLMs and things like that. But I swear I saw something. I had it all queued up. You know what? I think it's over here. Okay, so here is her documentary. I'm just going to pop over to it for a hot second so you guys can see it. I won't play it all, but I really enjoy her documentaries. Make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, you are. So we'll just watch the first minute or so and then we'll talk about it, okay?
Shanann, Bella, Celeste, if you're out there, just come back. Like, if somebody has her, just please bring her back. I need to see everybody.
County Communications, this is CeCe. Hi, CeCe. My name's Nichole, and I'm calling because I'm concerned about a friend of mine.
Walked in the house and nothing vanished. Nothing was here. I mean, she wasn't here. The kids weren't here. Nobody was here.
The husband of a missing pregnant woman is in jail and now charged with her.
The 33-year-old accused of his pregnant wife Shanann and their 2 daughters showed no emotion.
His arrest, confession, conviction, and sentencing, it all went down really fast.
What happened in the Watts family?
He's been the best thing, besides my children, that has ever happened to me.
He didn't have a wedding ring on his finger. He mentioned that he did have a significant other.
All right, you ready? Okay, say so.
I just realized that he was lying to me, and I was like, well, if you can lie to me about this, what else are you lying to me about?
This is the most inhumane, vicious crime that I have handled out of the thousands of cases that I have seen.
Chris Watts thinks he deserves to get out of prison.
I want you to close your eyes and imagine a scenario with me for a moment. You've just returned home from a weekend work trip and you're exhausted. You got in at 2 a.m. and you have to be up early to start your day, but you also feel extremely lucky because you work with one of your best friends who was also on the trip with you. The two of you are neighbors, you're inseparable, and you talk every single day. And your friend is pregnant with her 3rd child and you couldn't be happier for her. She's already got 2 kids with her adoring husband, and their lives seem picture perfect. So you drop your friend off at 2 a.m. and it's now after 9 a.m. the next day, and you realize your friend hasn't texted you, which is weird because you saw her only a few hours ago and she said she'd text you because she might need a ride to her prenatal appointment today. So you're a little surprised that it's been silence. You try texting, then calling. No response. Maybe you're overreacting, but this isn't like your friend. So you head over to her house just to check in. You punch the code in the front gate and march confidently up to the front door, and you knock and knock. But the house is dark and silent. Where is she? She should be back from her doctor's appointment by now, and suddenly you feel a cold rush of anxiety and worry. What if something happened to her? So you call your friend's husband and don't waste any time chit-chatting. Where is your wife, you ask? And he responds, oh, she's on a play date with the kids. But you know that isn't true because you're at their house and you're looking at your friend's car in their garage and the car seats for the girls are in the car. So now you're fighting down panic. You call your friend for the 100th time and still no answer. Where is she? Where are her 2 daughters? Why did her husband lie to you? Why isn't he concerned? So you grab your phone and call 911. And this is what we know.
Okay, I'm going to stop right there. We obviously are not going to watch her whole documentary, but if you are longing for some Watts content that's good, concise, and well-researched, and I think it's over an hour and a half long. Let me look real quick. An hour and 20 minutes long. This is the show for you. She goes into I want to just get to that segment. She goes into a really long analysis of Nikki, the mistress, Nichole. And what's funny is she, hold on. What's funny is she calls her Darling Nikki, which from the Prince song. that song. So she calls her that through the whole documentary, and I'm here for it. I love it. So let me find that segment for you, and we'll watch that. And then I will put the whole link for the entire documentary in my description.
And Chris's mistress as Nikki, aka Darling Nikki. If you're a Prince fan, you know what I'm talking about. So Nikki, Darling Nikki, was born in 1988 in Colorado. And now we don't know much about her upbringing beyond her father's name, but she did attend Colorado State University and graduated in 2013 with a degree in geology and geosciences. She was working under a contract with Tasman Geosciences, and in 2018, Tasman was contracted to work with Anadarko Petroleum, which is where Chris worked and how they met. And fun fact, Chris did not wear his wedding ring to work. Okay? If ever you needed a sign that someone is an asshole, that might be it. Now, there's a lot of speculation surrounding Darling Nikki. So let's start with what we know. Now, she and Chris worked together at Anadarko Petroleum, and they started exchanging work-related emails on June 12th, 2018, a few weeks after Chris learned his wife was pregnant with their third child. The relationship between Chris and Nikki got very serious very quickly, and before long, the pair were exchanging love letters and meeting in secret. And side note, according to a forensic analysis of Darling Nikki's phone, Nikki had been Googling Chris and Shanann Watts's names up to a year before she and Chris started emailing in the summer of 2018. A lot of people talk about that. So the question is,
so I am just like over the moon about this documentary that she did. I love it. I truly wish we could watch it all together, but that, obviously that wouldn't be fair. But she goes into such concise and amazing detail about Nikki that I want to watch a little bit more with you because it's really good.
Is like, was she kind of like harboring a longtime crush on, this oblivious coworker, or did the romantic relationship between her?
My theory on this is that I believe that she stalked Chris. She saw Chris somehow. I think when the Ruchaks were living, Chris was out and doing his working out at probably, I think, the same place that she worked at or worked out at, because I remember a live a long time ago, and I don't know who had it. And if you know where this live came from, could you just tell me in the comments below? But it was a live about a woman who was at the same gym, worked out at the same gym that Nikki worked at. And she said that Nikki liked the married men. So did anyone else hear that live? It was so long ago, I can't even remember who did it, but it was really good. The woman who was talking about it, she had dental work, and she kept having to drink during the live. Does anyone know what I'm talking about? Or
her and Chris actually begin back then in 2017. Like, we don't know for sure because, and unfortunately, police admit that once Chris confessed to his crimes, they pretty much halted any further investigation into Nichole and took her word for it that she and Chris had only been dating for like 2 months, which you'll see why this really frustrates me, as I think a lot of additional context and potential evidence was lost because of this move. I don't entirely know why they did this. Obviously, I'm not in law enforcement. I don't know how.
I think they did it because they wanted to keep her talking. They wanted her to keep talking, and so they let her say and do whatever she wanted. I think if Chris hadn't confessed and or he hadn't taken the deal, I think they would have continued with her, and they should have continued with her, but they just decided Chris was enough.
These things work, right? But we'll get to those thoughts. So back in 2018, according to Darling Nikki, Chris told her that he was in the middle of getting a divorce. So Apparently he has no problem saying the word Divorce at that time, Christopher. Sorry. Now, at the time of Chris's arrest, darling Nikki also claimed that she didn't know Shanann was pregnant until she'd heard on the news after her disappearance. Why do I totally and completely think that's bullshit? Based off of the analysis of darling Nikki's phone, we know that on July 24th, about a month after she and
Hey guys, I've got like a storm brewing. I didn't realize it was going to be so bad. Like the wind is blowing. So if I lose internet, or if I, that's why, or you hear something in the background, it's like really blowing out there.
Chris exchanged those alleged first work emails, Nikki Google searched, "Man I'm having affair with says he will leave his wife," because, you know, nothing says I didn't know he was married like doing a Google search about your man leaving his wife. But what do I know? So, darling Nikki.
Her snark is just like beautiful. She has Petty University. She is the queen of Petty University because she actually has merch that says Petty University. So she likes to take it to Petty. It's her way of coping. It's my way of coping, and I appreciate a good Petty joke.
darling Nikki was fully aware that she was the other woman, which I'm just kind of like, if you're looking for a man's, there are men's out there, you know what I mean? And like, yeah, you might have to like date around and you're gonna meet some assholes and you're gonna meet some asses, but guess what?
I'm actually not dating right now because of all that. I don't want to deal with any of that. I'd just rather be alone than deal with any of that, and certainly not a married man.
Fell for one. I don't understand the whole like, let me go after this guy who is like fully in the wedding bag, and he's got like the kids, picket fence, he got all of that, but like, it just move on to someone else. I'm sorry.
It wasn't fair to me to have him lie to me and make me think that everything is going
I mean, it's not fair to her, and it's certainly not fair to Shanann, but I mean, and the girls, because they're dead, but God, it really wasn't fair to her.
And still to this day, I don't even know what's a lie and what's not. I don't even know if they were like filing for divorce. I don't know if they were putting the house up. I don't even know.
Now, I do need to remind all of us, including myself, that being an adulterous homewrecker is not a crime. But just because it's not illegal doesn't mean a bitch can't judge you for it, okay? Try keeping it in your pants next time, darling Nikki. Seriously, the whole secret marital affair thing is just like weird, but I digress. Now, around that same time in July, Chris was Googling, these couple of winners here, he was Googling when to say I love you for the first time in a new relationship. By early August in 2018, darling Nikki was Googling wedding dresses and typing in things like marrying your mistress. She was clearly convinced that she and Chris were a sealed deal, even though she knew he was married to somebody else. You know, she's just like, I got him in the bag, done and dusted. All he needs is a divorce and my ring size. But you know what like really gets me about dirty little darling Nikki here is she also looked up Shanann's Facebook account. Now, a reminder, Shanann posted much of her life on her Facebook page. Like, bless her heart, the girl, you know, the whole concept of overshare, Shanann was doing a little bit of this, you know? I should know, I've done it myself. But
I have to admit, in the beginning of Facebook, I did it myself. I did it myself, and I just have to believe that that I truly believe that if she had lived, had she been allowed to live, she would have realized that sooner or later as well.
While scheming in the dark and, you know, sniffing out her competition, you know, the married man's wife, darling Nikki would have seen Shanann's Facebook post that had the video announcement about her and Chris expecting another child, because it was something she mentioned like literally on every other post.
So pink means...
That's just the test.
I know. It just says the pink is going to be girls.
I don't know.
Yet a few weeks later, Nikki would tell police that she had no idea that Shanann was pregnant until she saw it in the news. I'm sorry, I'm acting like this because I call bullshit. Like, just, you know, ripe, old, marinated, aged to perfection, spread over a buttery biscuit bullshit.
I take a step back and it's just like, I didn't know. Like,
Right.
He's so disgusting. I'm so ashamed of him and everything, and
I think Nikki likely lied to make herself look better in the interviews with police. And the big question being, was she potentially lying just to save face? Or was she lying because she was covering up some type of involvement? I mean, listen, y'all, okay. Do you remember the Scott Peterson case? I know this sounds like I'm taking a detour, but just a quick refresh.
I think we all go over to the Scott Peterson case. The people that like the Watts case, we all detour over to the Peterson case. So here we go. After we do this, then I'll stop it. And
in 2004, Scott Peterson was tried and convicted for the unaliving of, wait for it, his pregnant wife. He and Chris could honestly be pen pals. And what else do Chris Watts and Scott Peterson have in common? They were both having affairs on their pregnant wives. Yes, Scott Peterson was having an affair with a woman named Amber Fry, and it became, a central focus of the trial where she actually testified.
Scott told me he was not married.
And so back to darling Nikki over here, after Chris ended his entire family, guess what Miss Darling Nikki's little fingers were busy doing? She was literally hitting up the Google machine, and she asked the Googler, did people hate Amber Fry?
No, but
yeah,
you.
I'm gonna just leave that right there. Let y'all talk amongst yourselves. But don't worry, because these Google searches are about to get a whole lot worse for Nikki. So on the afternoon of the crimes, meaning Chris had ended his beautiful, innocent family, Chris and Nikki had several phone calls back and forth that lasted until about 2 a.m. the following morning. And we don't know what the pair discussed on those calls, but it's interesting to note that later the next day, August 14th, Nikki started Googling things like, can cops trace text messages? Which I'm sorry, I gotta do it. Nikki, come here. How you gonna be worried asking if cops can trace text messages and put in your internet search history, can cops trace text messages? Like, child, how did you not think that they'd also be tracing your Google search history? You're worried about some text, but not your Googling of super suspicious searches about hiding said texts from said police? Make it make sense, Nikki. Oh, someone need to tell Nikki to have a seat. Have several seats, okay? I'm sorry, I'm done. But you know what?
So I'm not going to show any more of that, but I wish I could because it's a really good video and you have to go over and watch it. Her name is Swoop, and she does a lot of documentaries, and I really think you should go watch it. What do you guys think? Do you think that Nikki... What is Nikki doing out in the world? What do you guys think she's doing out there? Do you think she's obviously changed her name, right? And do you think she's changed her hair or her appearance in any way? Do you think she still lives in Colorado? I know there was that video of that they thought they saw her at the supermarket. Does anyone remember that? Let me see if I can see. Miss Watts, Mistress today. Oops, I didn't spell that right. I'm just looking. Well, it was Nichole Kessinger. Today. Okay. Let's see. I think you share the screen. Let's see. I think we'll look at that for a minute. Let's see. Dana says, no to Colorado, in my humble opinion, changed appearance, etc. Yes. What was it at the grocery store in Colorado that they saw her, though? I can't remember. Let's see if this says anything.
She's saying that this man in Wisconsin says she is toxic. But was she toxic before you lied to her?
Wait.
No, I'm not. Chicken Lady's the boss, I think.
Don't know. Oh, is this the armchair detective? Did I say that?
My name's Alan. I am the armchair detective.
It is the armchair detective.
Long drawn out version there. I'm still playing with it. How are you? As you know, my name is Alan. I'm the boss. I am the boss. No, I'm not. Chicken Lady's the boss, I think. Oh, I'm dominated by women. How are you? Nice to see you all. A lot of you tonight, isn't there?
Wow, that was quite a...
You need to join Patreon now. We have a huge discovery. So big that I have to put a disclaimer on it.
When was this?
If I show you this and I read it to you, message from Kessinger. You see it.
Okay, wait a minute. Is he saying that he's in contact with Nichole Kessinger? Is that what I'm getting from this?
Seems real to me.
Why am I even doing this?
Huge disclaimer. Tonight's show on Patreon, I will be reading you stuff that seems to be Kessinger's observations on everything at last. I'll read you this one page.
I feel like what's happening right now is I've got my backpack packed and I'm walking down to the docks and I'm waiting for Watts Island boat and I feel like I'm getting on it and I'm driving over it and I don't know if I want to go. I don't know if I'm wanting to go down this road into this island.
But it's in Patreon tonight. I'm not going to put it on here. Okay, you need to join Patreon. It's only £5. Right. By Nichole Kessinger. In brackets, disclaimer. It seems real. She's toxic, right? But she was toxic before you lied to her about another female. This is Kessinger replying to a letter she says she's received from Wisconsin. So she's replying, let's say, to Christopher Watts. She's saying that this man in Wisconsin says she is toxic. But was she toxic before you lied to her about another female? Was she toxic before you took advantage of the trust she had in you? She wasn't toxic. You drained it out of that woman. Remember NK called Shanann that woman. You drained it out of that woman. You hurt that woman and your family as well. You lied to her and them all and continue to hurt her too. Made her question her worth in front of the whole world. She did.
She did. Remember that picture of the days, was it the day before she was murdered? She had been through it.
Then you elect her to be the same person she was in the beginning. Really? No, she's crazy for being that way. The audacity of it. I don't know why a person's got to lie about this. Literally all lies, man. I feel completely and utterly dumbed out from the letter from Wisconsin I received today. It's like everything good happening lately was flushed down the friggin' toilet. I have reams of this.
Okay,
Show
so
you.
is he saying that he is in contact with Nichole Kessinger? I mean, I know I'm not wrapping my mind around this, but is that what he's saying?
And patron tonight. Can't do it all here. Inside story of a so-called, I mean, like Kessinger, right? Right? But is it Kessinger?
I don't know. Is it?
Well, that's what we'll be digging the next few days.
Oh.
You need to join Patreon to hear the rest. This is dynamite stuff.
Okay, well, I will put the link to this video if you want to watch it down below. I'm not going to watch it. I'll watch it by myself. I don't want to. I don't know. I don't. This is the one that I was. The video of the photo of Nichole Kessinger.
For them.
Let me make sure you're seeing what I'm seeing. Okay, so yeah, I don't know. I feel like really weird about watching his videos because I just don't know. Yeah, I don't know. Like, is he saying that it's Nichole Kessinger? Is he saying that he is getting texts from Nichole Kessinger, or is it somebody else? I don't know. I have to research that by myself because I don't want to take you guys down a road that isn't credible. Yeah, I just don't want to take you down uncredible roads. And I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't want to I don't want to say too much. So let's just move on. And I think this is the video here that this was the photo that everyone thought, well, not everyone, but that was reported that this was Nichole Kessinger.
Were near the woman. But for the people of Colorado, for friends of Shanann and friends of her children, Celeste and Bella, that lived in the local area, it must be really awful to know that you could be out at your local supermarket buying your weekly food shop and Nichole Kessinger walks past you. I mean, God.
Woo. So I know that when this photo came out, oh, you guys aren't even seeing what I'm watching. I'm showing you guys. I'm sorry. Hold on a second. There. It happens in every live that I do. I do it. So anyway, let's watch this. And
something else that we've all found out is that Nichole has recently changed her name. It has taken her quite a long time to go through the process of changing her name, but she is now not known as Nichole Kessinger. What she is known as, I don't know, but what we can say is that she's still living, we think not 100% certain, but we think she's still living in the Colorado area. How awful. I'm pretty certain that Shanann's family didn't live in Colorado. They lived in a different state in America. So thankfully for them, they don't have to be anywhere near the woman. But for the people of Colorado, for friends of Shanann and friends of her children, Celeste and Bella, that lived in the local area, it must be really awful to know that you could be out at your local supermarket buying your weekly food shop and Nichole Kessinger walks past you. I mean, God. Woo. It'd be pretty awful if that happened, wouldn't it? So guys, this is just a quick update on Nichole Kessinger. The fact that
okay, so this was Cold Case with Colette, and I'll put the link down in the description so you can watch her whole video on this Nichole Kessinger. And then I saw a video, I saw something about Chris Watts, Cindy and Ronnie Watts accept son's guilt, that they're no longer in denial. So let's let's look at that. But before we do, I just want to say this is Pair Women Radio. We're women supporting women in the unusual. We do a lot of true crime because that's what I like to talk about. But I also like to talk about paranormal, conspiracy theory, those kind of things. I like to interview women that are doing the unusual. And if you like my content, please consider subscribing. And if you subscribe, be sure to ring the bell. And if you don't want to do any of that, if you could just give this live a thumbs up, it's just a free way for me to dance out into the algorithm and bring more people back to our party. And it's a free way to help me out, and it's so appreciated.
Deputies, I would respectfully ask that you take this defendant into custody and have him serve the rest of his life in the Department of Corrections. We are in recess.
He's guilty of something. What charges, that's yet to be determined, in my mind anyway. I mean, he's where he's supposed to be right now until it can be proved different to me.
Well, I've accepted that Chris is in prison.
And he's not getting out.
And I know he's not getting out.
We both know that.
He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. But as far as guilt, he's guilty of something, but I don't know what he is guilty of.
What extent of the charges, we don't know.
Right.
Okay, so we all know that's like a huge step for Cindy, I feel, because she was in huge denial about him even being where he needed to be. Remember, she wanted to do that. Was it a 352? I don't remember what it was that they were going to try to do, but they were really wanting him to do it. And Chris drug his heels and said he'd do it for the longest time, and then finally he didn't do it. So let's see if there's anything else new. Oh, remember those pictures of Chris Watts at the birthday party?
Hi, friends. On Chris's last day with the girls, he took them to...
And what else? I should have looked at the creator of that. Let's do Chris Watts Update 2023. I don't really see a whole lot more. Oh, I didn't hear about them talking about their time in Wisconsin. They were there, right? Weren't they there just in January? My connection is really bad because there's a bad storm going on out there. So it's taking a minute to, yeah, his mom and dad, they live in North Carolina. Thank goodness they don't live in the same town as the Ruchaks. I think they live like a half hour away. So there's not like so much of a chance that they run into each other, because that seems like that would be extremely awkward running into those people.
Bella and CeCe. Shanann comes storming out, and she's about here, and that's when she told you, "Why are you trying to kill my daughter?" And there are things that are going to be heard tonight. Firstly, from 30 minutes of a phone conversation between myself, Ronnie, and Cindy, just after they got back to their motel in Wisconsin after day one of their 3-day visit to Chris Watts back in September last year.
Do you think Dave's ever going to go and visit him? Has he ever said anything about that? I know that Dave doesn't particularly like him, but I just wonder if he'll ever go visit.
You're also going to hear from Ronnie and probably Cindy after this presentation. And that's when the live chat will be closed to subscribers and will be opened up purely for members of the channel. And that is to limit the amount of questions that can be asked pretty much, because I'm going to be highlighting some questions up on the screen that you guys wish to ask Ronnie and Cindy. The most important question that you can't ask, well, you can ask, but it won't be answered, is was NK involved? For obvious reasons, Ronnie and Cindy won't answer the question. And that's purely got nothing to do with their being silenced. That's to do with you can't go and accusing somebody of committing a crime, especially something as heinous as murder. How many people?
I want to say one thing. I think that the TikTok trial that's happening with the psychic that has accused the professor in the Idaho 4 case, she's won that defamation suit, and I think people are starting to be a little bit weary and not maybe do as many videos about like who has killed who, because now they're maybe a little bit afraid of that. I don't know, just saying. I've been very interested in that TikTok case, and she's winning. That professor is winning, and so people need to be careful of what they say.
Love
Really
going,
do.
oh, Cindy's in denial. They're in denial. Their poor little Chrissy boy. Okay. As you well know, and everybody who's actually watching the show knows, I'm only here for the truth, no matter how ugly the truth is. And Ronnie and Cindy, I firmly believe, are willing and ready.
I'm sorry, Dana. I don't know what you mean by the question marks. I'm always over on the other page, so I don't see the chat all the time. But I don't know what I was saying that made you question. But yeah, maybe all of this is just a big question mark above all our heads, right? What the friggin' frog?
To find out exactly what happened, why it happened, and how it happened, but more so why. Now, I'll ask you both. Ronnie, do you believe in your son's guilt?
He's guilty of something. What charges, that's yet to be determined, in my mind anyway. I mean,
But do they think he's guilty enough to be in prison for life? I know they said that he's going to be in prison in life, but whatever they think he's guilty of, do they feel it's enough to keep him in prison for life? That's my question.
he's where he's supposed to be right now until it can be proved different to me.
Well, I've accepted that Chris is in prison.
And he's not getting out.
And I know he's not getting out.
We both know that.
He's going to spend the rest of his life in prison. But as far as guilt, he's guilty of something, but I don't know what he is guilty of.
To what extent of the charges, we don't know.
Right.
Yes, it is incredible because when I started covering the Watts case, Ronnie and Cindy, or even when I was watching Jays for Justice and I was learning as much as I possibly could about it, that was before the documentary came out, the one-sided documentary.
Yes, very.
Gotcha.
I just want to say that I had massive doubts after I watched the Porch interview. He seemed sincere when he was actually asking for his family to be returned.
That was Chris. That is how he acts. That is Chris. He always does that with his hands. That was Chris. That is who he is.
That's his demeanor.
That's his demeanor.
And naturally, like him swaying, people are saying, oh, especially D.A. Rourke, who had the height to actually criticize Chris, his swaying movements.
No,
in
that's
regards
him.
to
The swaying movements were self-soothing. We all know what the swaying movements are.
he has to be lying because he's swaying.
No.
Well, DA Rourke got up there on sentencing day at a press conference,
It
and I
looked
thought
like-
he was
it
going to
looked like-
fall over and the wind was blowing that strong. I thought he was going to,
it looked-
sway himself off the dais.
But I think he was up there dancing there for a minute, so I wasn't sure.
So, it was, like
Self-soothing. People do that when people are swaying or they're doing this, or it's just the way they're self-soothing themselves. They're comforting themselves.
I could imagine him being
Psychological
nervous.
thing.
Like he was on national television. When Officer Coonrod turned up at his house and Nate was throwing him under the bus, saying, "Oh, Chris is not normally like this. He's, he's swaying from side to side. He's not." Well, Nate hardly knew Chris was.
They
Let's
very,
all get
they very
that
seldom
right.
ever talked. They very seldom ever talked, much less spent cooking out together or something like that. That didn't happen.
Yes, he spoke in tense.
My biggest regret is that when I asked Chris, look, I'm going to come with your dad, he said, no, just send dad.
Yeah, I would say that I think that is probably Cindy's biggest regret, because I don't understand why Ronnie didn't ask for a lawyer. Don't understand it.
My biggest regret is that I didn't go, because I would have dragged him out somehow and said, you need a lawyer. This is, or you can leave. If they said you could leave, go ahead, let's leave. Let's go.
He could have actually left.
Yes, he could have.
He actually could have left
could have.
when
He
they
could
went
have
out
left.
to get Ronnie. Mm-hmm. He actually could have got up and walked.
Yes.
And I'm looking at the television. I watched this 9-part thing from 9 News, where they actually showed the entire interrogation. Mm-hmm. And I'm there and I'm looking at the TV screen. And I'm saying, leave. Get up and leave.
I have to say
They've
that
got nothing on you.
I do not like Chris at all. At all. I don't like him at all. But he should have asked for a lawyer right away. It must be because the true crime, but if anything were ever to happen and I were ever to be pulled in and been questioned about a murder, the first thing I would say is, I need a lawyer. I need a lawyer. I don't care. I want a lawyer. Give me a lawyer.
It was.
That's not who Chris is, though. It's not who he is. I know every mother says they know their child, but I really, really did know Chris. I know who he is and his mannerisms. He doesn't like confrontation. He never.
She said in the past that I know in the interview that she didn't know him. She obviously didn't know him. He killed people.
Never wanted to talk about people. He never got into a fight. He never raised his voice.
100%.
This wasn't my son that committed any of these horrendous, this horrible crime. I mean, it wasn't him. It wasn't his personality. Something definitely happened to him.
Yeah, I believe
it wasn't him.
What do they think happened?
He never raised his voice to anyone.
He was definitely a follower.
He was.
He was a follower.
So I was just wondering. I'm just looking at a couple of things, that people are writing here in the live chat. We just talked about before that Chris didn't need permission to even leave the room. And then Ronnie, you actually stated a while ago to me here on the channel about what the police actually said to you when they came out to get you to walk into that room to see Chris. Can you remember exactly what he said to you?
He said you need to prepare yourself and be strong when you go in there. And at that time, the only thing I knew, anybody knew, that everybody was missing, and that was it. and Chris hasn't confessed to anything up to that point. So in other words,
he hadn't.
No, he has not. He has not said a word about what happened to anybody, where they were, or anything else.
You know, and it makes you wonder. You know, like prior to the walking in for the polygraph, I believe they knew at 11 a.m. This is my opinion. That's not a fact, everybody. But I believe that they
Johnny out there?
right there and then at 11 a.m. exactly where the girls were. You know, more so than Shanann. You know, and during the polygraph, they didn't ask him any questions about the girls, which I found.
No.
I mean, that could be so that they did know, because didn't his truck have GPS in it? And they for sure probably went to the site where, they probably did know, or they had an idea.
They never
Very,
did.
very interesting.
Or anything, they might have known the Shanann. They might have saw the little grave and didn't see two more graves, or I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you think they knew something that morning?
Because all they wanted him to, be responsible for killing Shanann.
Mm-hmm.
That was their one and only goal. But all of a sudden, the next day, he was charged with 3 counts of murder and 3 counts of tampering with deceased human remains. How do they go from him confessing to killing Shanann and her killing the girls to charging him within 12 hours of killing everybody when they had absolutely zero evidence? And at midnight on Wednesday night, which was only a few short hours after Chris was arrested and put in handcuffs, they actually closed the house down for an they closed it as a crime scene.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
That never happens.
Because he's admitted to killing Shanann in the house, and he's admitted that she killed the girls in the house only a few hours earlier. How does the house get closed down? Is it because they already knew nobody died in the house and nobody was carried out in trash bags?
But why did they say that in court then? Why did DA Rourke say that in court?
Drama.
They're allowed to lie. He's got qualified immunity. He's actually allowed to stand in court and lie his ass off. He's actually allowed to do it.
Are they not allowed to do that type of stuff in Australia? Is that why he's surprised about that they're allowed to, like, in the interview lie or whatever? Is that like not something that they do in other countries?
Wow.
And it's wrong. It is completely and utterly wrong. The whole system's wrong, and people just need to wake up, smell the roses. People do confess to crimes they haven't committed.
100% they do. They do. But Chris isn't even saying who did it. He's just saying, like, he has dreams and memories, and he's just stringing his parents along. It makes me sick.
Because they want the noise to stop.
That's
probably more or less what happened to him.
That's
because
what happened.
They kept on and on, like he was in interrogation, 4 or 5 hours the night before?
Yeah, 6 hours the night before and 6 hours.
And then he was there
Not 3 hours the night before. It was from nearly 8 o'clock till 11 o'clock. But he'd already had the police with him for a number of hours on the Monday. The Tuesday they were.
If you didn't commit this crime, this would have been something you would have been willing to do.
All over the house.
What are they saying? I don't understand. They're trying to say that all right. They're saying, okay, he belongs there now. Okay, but somebody else did it. He didn't do it. He did not do it, but he belongs there?
And the neighborhood. Wednesday, he comes and gets you from the airport.
It's crazy.
And then you sit out there waiting. I mean, he was going in for a polygraph.
Okay.
He wasn't going.
I don't want to watch all of it because I want you guys to be able to go and support the page yourself. But let's see what questions people are going to ask. I think I see one right there. Okay, let's see.
Ronnie knew this.
Okay, so the question
And
is,
he knew he
when you first met Shanann, did you get the impression that she was as professionally successful as Frankie Jr. stated, that she made $500K a year? Thank you, and I understand if you're unable to
couldn't
answer.
tell him over the phone that Chris had just, well, that basically Ronnie had just learnt that the grandchildren are dead. And you'll never see them again.
Right.
Now, Ronnie had to think, how was he going to go about it? And what Ronnie did was actually he contacted Jamie and explained to her what had occurred. And then Jamie got in a car with, I think it was her husband.
Yeah.
And they both drove over to Cindy's house. And Cindy just, as soon as Jamie went in and told Cindy, Cindy just dropped to the floor.
Yeah.
So,
well, he must be answering the question of how did Cindy find out about the murders?
Cindy actually found out in a home, but in person from a daughter. And she was surrounded by family when she actually found out.
But the kids weren't there. A friend
They weren't
came.
there.
No,
That's right.
the
They
kid-
were buying you and Jamie that entire letter.
Yeah.
Him to sign off. But at the same.
All right. Well, I don't want to talk about that. It looks like there was only like 2 questions.
Okay.
I will put the link for Dave's, that full page, in my description down below, and if you want to go watch it. And I just feel, I don't know. I'm a team Shanann, team Ruchak, so it's really hard for me to I don't want to be offensive. So let's see if there's anything else. And then if there isn't, I will let you guys go. This was one of my favorite videos of Dieter. I want to do a video on Dieter. This is Dieter today.
Say hi, Dieter. Say hi, Deets. What, Deets? What do you want? What, Deets? What? What do you want? You want a treat?
He's a talker.
What? What, Deets? What do you want? What you want, Deets? No.
Okay, well, I'm going to let you guys go. Before we go, my little co-host wanted to say hello, the little Chihuahua, Maybelline. She's been here the whole time sleeping. I know, Dieter. Mwah! He's a little angel baby. I love dogs. I love animals. I actually want a bird. I am, I said that really funny. Bird. I want a bird. I think I said it funny because I think it sounds insane that I want a bird, but I do want a bird. But I don't want to like buy a bird. I want to adopt a bird. So I'm kind of like waiting because like, it feels like whenever you say you want an animal, somehow it comes into your life, you know, or at least for me, that's how it goes. So yeah, I want a bird. The little dog and I just want a little parrotlet or a parakeet or just a little bird. So I know I love them too. So I've been working on some new stuff. I've been working on the Letitia Stout trial, the evil stepmother who murdered her little stepson, Gannon. I've been working on that trial. I've been doing Lori Vallow Daybell stuff. What else have I done? Oh, I've been doing Sarah Boone. I've been doing the Treehouse Murders, the phlebotomist who, Julia Enright, who murdered her ex-boyfriend in a treehouse. Been doing a lot of her stuff. So if you're interested in other true crime, I encourage you to go watch some of my other stuff. I, of course, have been doing some of the Watts case. It's my favorite case, and I like to do videos on it. So I do videos on it. So if you could subscribe, it would help us out a lot. And if you subscribe, be sure to ring the bell if you're not feeling like you want to subscribe yet. Because I do have a lot of people who revisit quite a bit. If you're not ready to make that commitment, if you could just give this live a thumbs up, a heart, a smile, however you do it on the platform you're at, it just helps me dance out into the algorithm. Okay, she's done. And bring more people back to the party. It's just a free way to help me out, and it's so appreciated. And let me know what you want to see from me and what you want to hear from me. Oh, baby girl, hold on. Hold on, you gotta have patience, okay? And we'll see you real soon. Bye, everyone.
Ruchak, Frankie.
Breaking news right now into NBC 10 Boston, and a verdict in the trial of an Ashburnham woman accused of killing her ex-boyfriend. This was back in 2018 in a treehouse. Now, according to the Worcester Telegram, a jury found Julia Enright guilty of second-degree murder in the death of Brandon Chitlis. His body was found wrapped in a tarp in New Hampshire weeks later. Now, Enright had claimed it was self-defense, that Chitlis had sexually assaulted her. But prosecutors argued that she did it as a quote, gift for her current boyfriend. A jury deliberated for almost 2 days before that verdict.
Orangutan needed help breastfeeding. Her first baby had to be hand-raised after she failed to nurse him. Metro Richmond Zoo staff were determined to teach Zoe how to nurse. When Zoe delivered her second baby, our vet contacted Whitley Turner, a zookeeper and new mom herself, for an extraordinary favor.
Cheryl, our vet, called me and she said, "Can you bring your baby in and feed him in front of Zoe because she had a baby?"
Whitley agreed to help, and she and her baby Caleb arrived at the orangutan's indoor house soon after Zoe gave birth. It's likely Zoe never learned how to be a mom since she was orphaned at 9 months old when her mother died unexpectedly. Whitley was excited to share her breastfeeding knowledge with Zoe.
I just had my breastfeeding bra on and I was able to show her everything with zero modesty. I wanted her to be able to see the whole process because orangutans don't wear shirts. I wanted her to be able to see my breasts and see Caleb and be able to see him rooting and looking for it and the latch. With my bra down, I was very exaggerated when I put him on so that she could see that like the baby goes here, and the whole time I was talking to her and pointing at her, pointing at the baby, pointing at her breast, and when Caleb was latched I was like showing it to her and making sure that she saw the important part. The whole time she just kept watching me, like curious. She didn't immediately breastfeed her baby, but she was definitely watching the whole time.
Soon after, Zoe nursed her baby for the first time. The demonstration was successful, but that's not all it took to help Zoe. For months before giving birth, zookeepers worked with her to kickstart her maternal instincts. Zoe's caretaker set up a TV inside so she could watch videos of orangutan mothers giving birth and caring for their young.
She would just sit there and watch the video just over and over again, so she saw it from the very beginning, and even if we would change it to something else and then put it back on, it immediately would capture her attention and she would come over and watch it.
Our zookeepers even showed Zoe how to hold a baby using a stuffed animal orangutan.
The little stuffed animal, I would even have it so it was going around my waist and around my neck, just like a baby would be clinging onto her side. So I was able to even grab some biscuits on the ground and pretend like I was eating them while I was holding the baby. I was able to kind of show her and like spread like its legs a little bit and kind of hold them up to the front, and so she would kind of see and check it out. After he was born, she immediately came over and did the exact same thing and kind of showed me and let me kind of look at his feet and his body. The idea is we want to be able to get a good view on, body condition, overall wellness check, and so she was able to do exactly mirror image of what we had shown her, which was really, really exciting.
Zoe and her baby boy are healthy and bonding well. They can be seen at the zoo daily. The zoo is grateful to our dedicated professionals who are committed to helping Zoe. Their diligent efforts paid off.
I had a really hard time in the beginning as a new mom with my breastfeeding journey, required a lot of guidance and help before we really figured it out. I think it was really special being able to share this with her and help her in her journey, whether it was an orangutan or a human. I just want to be able to help any new mom.
Goodbye. 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 Goodbye.